Hi, today we're talking about creating systems for sustainable change. And this is so important because many times people will embark on a goal that they have for themselves, but they don't know how to approach it in a sustainable way. And by sustainable, I mean anything you have in mind that you want to do for a longer period of time, you want it to be sustainable. You don't want to say, every day I'm going to work out for 4 hours and make that your daily goal, because that's not sustainable at all. Who's going to work out for 4 hours? I mean, if that's your life, then go for it. But for most people, that's not sustainable. Anyway, so before we dive into that, the first thing is setting a goal that is sustainable. That's how you begin. You initially need to have a clear goal in mind that implements sustainability. So that means not saying that you're going to do something that you cannot possibly do or cannot keep up with. I actually like to set a goal that's kind of small. So if you can set a goal that's small, something that allows you to show up for the task that you're trying to do. Maybe you are trying to, wake up a little bit earlier so that you can have some time for yourself in the morning, whatever that might be. Then set it for 10 minutes, and then you get that routine going 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And once you've done that for a week, 2 weeks, however long, maybe you'll feel more comfortable in stretching that amount of time and waking up 20 minutes early. Who knows? So the important thing is to first make the goal doable. If you start out by saying, again, that you're going to wake up a whole hour earlier, you're going to be suffering. You cannot sustain that. So incrementally, you can increase your the rules around your goal, what it is you're trying to do. But so start out with a goal that's small. Choose a small goal, and then you can work up from that. So I think that's my main key point in creating a goal. But beyond that, I've got my notes with me. Beyond that, when you're actually going to be starting a routine, you've got to think about what's doable. Like, what are you actually going to be doing during this time that you have set aside, or the goal that you have in mind? Is it something you're doing for someone else because someone else has told you, hey, this should be important, you should prioritize this in your day, you should spend time doing this, should, right? But is that important to you? If it's not important to you, you're not going to do it at all. Like, let me tell you, it's not, like, we have enough time in our days to do whatever it is that we decide we want to do. I believe that we make time for the things that are important to us, but that's exactly it. We make time for what's important to us. And if someone else is telling us to do something and we aren't interested in doing that, then we're going to find every reason in the book to not do it. No one wants extra chores on their hand, and no one wants to be doing something that they don't feel like is going to be benefiting them, right? So choose a goal that's small. Make sure it's something that's important to you and something that you are going to be benefiting from. And that's actually a good thing to write out. I know some people don't find value in writing things out, but it's actually a good way to remind yourself later. If you can write it down and hang it up on your wall, this is my why. Find your why. That is step 3 in creating a sustainable routine for yourself. Creating a sustainable system of change, I should say. So if you have your why in mind, your why is, I'm doing this because I want to, feel better in some way, or I want to improve my whatever. I know I'm being super vague here, but I don't know what your goals are. So let's stick with the waking up earlier in the morning. If that's your goal, to wake up a little earlier so that you can have more time for yourself, why is that valuable? Why do you want time for yourself? Writing that out. Maybe it's because you feel like you're rushed in the morning and you don't even get a chance to catch your breath. You're just, like gasping for air, running from one task to the other, and you would love 10 minutes to just breathe and sit with yourself. then that's beautiful. That's your why. And that's going to remind you whenever those days come up. This is now moving on to step 4. When resistance comes up, what do you do when resistance comes up? Your why is what you're going to be looking towards. You might feel, tired on one day and not want to get up a little earlier. You might feel even frustrated, bored. There's times when I've been trying to implement a routine and I know it's good for me and I know I feel good doing it, but I just don't want to do it sometimes. I'm like, oh, I'd rather just, do something else, or I hate cutting. Maybe I'm working on something and then I'm like, oh, it's time to go do that thing that I set aside time to do. Just a little resistance, right? It's not always fun to have that routine in place. I think naturally we have that little rebellious nature in us that wants to be free flowing and not have all these rigid rules. So I understand that, but that's why it's important that you are implementing a routine that you find important and that you can actually benefit from. And this why that you write is going to be the reminder as to, why you're showing up every day, why you are committing to this, and what you're going to get out of it. So if you are sticking with this and you're showing up for yourself, you are slowly reinforcing that I talked about in the last episode, that sense of consistency that you create is also enhancing your own trust muscle. If you can rely on yourself to show up, if you can build that slow system, it takes a long time, but you start to feel more capable of doing anything else that you set your mind to. So you are starting with this one small practice, and then it can turn into so much more. But you can't take on more than I know it's tempting, but you can't take on more than you can possibly do at one time. So try not to also start up a whole bunch of different routines at one time. Try not to set multiple goals that that you want to accomplish this week or this month. I mean, it's great to have those in mind, but if it's something that you're going to have to dedicate time to daily, then try to keep that at just one goal for starters. Maybe two if you're really ambitious, but I would recommend just one goal and seeing how that goes, seeing how it feels to show up for yourself every day to do this goal. And then maybe it might also be a good idea for some people to set a time frame to say, maybe in a month, assess how things are going, see if you feel any different, see if you've made strides towards, maybe you're working on a project and maybe it's a good time to check on the progress, right? And if in a month's time it doesn't feel good, nothing's working, things aren't where you want it to be, then assess again and make changes as necessary. So those are just a few tips for creating sustainable changes. I think it's really awesome when someone is creating a new routine for themselves, and that's particularly how I like to set any goals for myself. I like to put them into my routine. So I already have things I like to do in the morning and in the evening, actually during my day too. I have a couple of things that I like to do at certain times of day, and based on my own learning of what times I'm most productive and what I like to do at certain times. Like, I really enjoy exercising in the morning, and I'm not going to put that in my mental calendar to do at 7 o'clock in the evening, because that's just not when I want to be exercising. So working with your own established routines and what works for your brain, what works for your energetic levels. Create goals that work for you. Don't try and stick a goal in there in your day that does not already meet the kind of lifestyle that you have. And I know that's a strange thing to say also if you are completely trying to change up your lifestyle, but if that's the case, then again, start with something small. Keep something small in your um, make it a small goal that you can squeeze into some other routine that you have established, like maybe tying it to something that you do regularly. I've recommended to others to attach a new goal to something that they do. Like, let's say in the morning you are always going to be brushing your teeth, right? So before you brush your teeth, you've got to do this other task, right? Maybe it's a small thing that you can do before you brush your teeth, and then you start to remember, okay, this is my morning, I do this, and then I brush my teeth. Or, in the evening, you take a shower, and what can you do right before you take a shower? Maybe you want to, anything, I don't know, you, you pick your own goals here. Just tie it to something that you're going to be doing already, and that makes it so much easier. Keep it small. Remember first one, yeah, keep it small. Then make sure the routine or task or goal, whatever it is you're trying to implement, make sure it is sustainable. Make sure that it is something that you can start a routine around or implement it into your routine already. And then the third thing, make sure that you have a plan for how you will face resistance, because there are going to be days where you don't want to show up, or days where you don't feel like this goal that you set 2 weeks ago is that important and you're ready to toss it to the curb. But no, you've got to remember your why. Your why is what's going to keep you motivated, it's going to keep you on task, and keeping up with these lifestyle changes that you'd like to make, or project goals that you set for yourself. So I know I was a little all over the place here, but I hope that was helpful, and I hope I was clear in breaking down 4 different steps as to how to create a system of change for yourself. And if you have further questions about this, feel free to message me or let me know anything you would like to see in another IGTV series. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.